Yep. Hi everyone. Welcome again to and we are welcome again to this session. Let me just call it a session. And congratulations to everyone. Can anyone hear me first of all before I continue? Perfect.
Yes, you are unable.
Perfect. Yeah. So I want to congratulate everyone again to gotten to this stage who have gotten to this stage. It's you're just a step away to landing yourself in Edinburgh, honestly. As you all know, the opportunity is a competitive one. But for you to have gotten to this stage, really, that means your application is very, very strong. And I want to congratulate everyone. So, there are a couple of things that I believe that you want to know. So, this call will help you to understand those those things specifically. And I believe everyone here has listened to the voice note I've sent. If you've not listened to the voice note I've sent, can you signify if you've not listened to the voice note? Okay, or on the other way around, if you've listened to the voice notes, can you just signify? And for record purpose, perfect, perfect, perfect. So I'm waiting for two more responses. Perfect. Okay, it's just one person left. All right. Anyways, for record purpose, I am. Oh, good. That means everyone has listened to it. That's cool. So for record purpose, I am voice recording this call. If you do not want me to address you by your name, which I'm saying, maybe your first name, which I'm saying, I would like you to maybe change your name to a nickname or something else, so that I can always refer to you with that nickname. So So again, welcome to the people who just joined. So what I'm saying is this meeting is recorded. If you do not want me to mention your name in this recording, feel free to change your name to a nickname or something else so that um I can address you by that nickname. Although your picture won't be showing, so even if I'm addressing you by your name, well, hopefully if people understand you, if you learn about your language, I'm not sharing this yet, but I might share it maybe on YouTube or wherever. So that's why I'm giving you that notice. So please feel free to rename yourself if you do not want me to address you by your name. Right. So yeah, the interview is going to be 60 minutes. I think they've shared you, I believe they've shared everyone the a Google Doc like for interview guidance. If you received another thing besides the Google Doc, if you received another thing besides the Google Doc, or you received an additional information, please signify so that I will just know that okay, your own case is special, or maybe we can discuss that later. If you received any information aside the guidance given in the Google Docs, please just signify. Yeah, let me just take note of that so that I don't talk to a wrong audience. Okay, that means we're all on the same page, yeah? So, yeah, like they said, the duration of the meeting is 60 minutes, and you're going to be like a group of four or five, yeah? You're going to be like in a group of four or five, but with people in the same cohorts, yes. It's going to be for people in the same cohorts, and you're going to have at least two people from two interviewers. One of the interviewers will be um, one of the interviewers will be a member of Mastercard Foundation at the University of Edinburgh, and another one will be a member of a member of staff of your course. So a member of staff of your course. So it's either your course director or maybe an assistant course director. So it's two-way thing. Yeah, that's one thing I want you to take note of. It's a two-way thing. Yep, that's aside. The interview structure, as you've seen in the slide, the panel introduction and will provide overview of the interview for 5 minutes. So you
Sorry,
as a,
please can you just record the call,
Yes, I'm recording the call. Yes. And like I mentioned earlier, for people just joined, this call is being recorded. If you do not want me to address you by your first name, please change your name to a nickname or something else so that I can so that I don't mention your name when I'm addressing you. Right. So the candidates, each candidate will deliver a meeting, a 4 minute verbal presentation, which is a total of 20 minutes. So with what I've learned from the last cohort is that the, okay, we'll get to the question part. Each panel has a chance to ask just one question for follow up, which can to the presenter, which can be up to 15 minutes in total. So each candidate to ask questions or provide piece of feedback on up to two of their fellow candidates' presentation. 15 minutes as well. So the presentation, 4 minutes, remember. So the goal is to develop a group of climate leaders. That's one thing you need to learn. A group of climate leaders. So once you're preparing, just have that in mind. I'm trying to yeah, just have that in mind. That's one. So another thing is that they're looking forward to creating effective community. I think oh oh yeah. Oh, these the questions really. Oh yeah, this is the questions. Pardon me, I'm already going into the questions. But before I go into the question, which is slide 4, I will just address the others. So the rubric is you want to be outstanding. So one thing you want to have is being detailed. You want to be detailed and well constructed, which is also included in um in the slides, right? So the other thing is you want to share ideas around community within climate change and sustainability. So, all right, welcome to someone who's just joining. I've just mentioned earlier that this call is going to be recorded. If you don't want to be, okay, welcome to the people who just joined. I just mentioned that this call is recorded, and if you don't want to be addressed by your name, please change your name so that I do not address you by your first name. So the first name I mean is the name I'm seeing on the screen. So just change your name to a nickname or something so that I can address you as that. So I'm on the rubric. You have to be detailed and well and construct your responses very well and let it fully address the questions. So detailed meaning, for example, when you are asked a question like, now let me take the questions to answer the rubric. So, our goal is to develop a group of climate leaders. What do you think would help create an effective community of young leaders able to address issues like climate change and sustainability? The first thing you want to do, if you've not been given the chance, is to introduce yourself. So, after introduction, you state the course you're applying to. So after stating the course you're applying to, then you mention how your course aligns to climate change or what you're studying in your course that helps climate change. So to building an effective community, you need to tackle that solution which is affecting not just your local community but your global world. I guess you feel me. So look at your essays. I don't want you to digress from what you've written in your essay. So that will definitely help you. That will definitely help you as regards mentioning a particular thing that you mentioned that you want to learn that would help climate change. I hope this is cleared. So, and when you're citing that, I just want to share. Sorry, I just want to use an example of what I've got here. Yep. If you look at it very well, in question, I think the question four of your essay clearly asks you, if I'm correct, yeah, question four of your essay clearly asks for people who noted down their essays. It says climate challenge is a global process, but it affects communities around the world in different ways. Tell us how climate change is impacting a community that you belong to. Are there ways you might be able to contribute to making your community more resilient? So those are the questions that you want to focus on. For example, well, this question wasn't asked during my time, so but I reviewed a couple of essays, and this is what I'm. That's why I understand the questions and why I'm using it specifically. Besides, it's what you want to answer to. So this person, what you want to do in regards to the rubric is one, you want to share. It's one, you want to share a challenge that is in your community. For example, I could say, my name is Ademi Kwadile, and I'm applying for Masters in Food Security at the University of Edinburgh. And a way to help create effective community of young leaders able to solve issues like climate change is first of all the learning the core cause of effects that or cause that's affecting food security, effects of climate change on food security in my local community. And understanding this would help me build a community, would help me create initiative such as XYZ. For example, well, I have an organization called Save Agric, so I could just use that. For example, building Save Agric initiative, an initiative that is helping, that is teaching local farmers how to grow sustainably, and also improve their economic value from through exchange commodities, through exchange of agro commodities. And I believe that this will not only, with focus on young leaders, with focus on young farmers between the age of 18 and 35. So, you're learning something, and then you're using that knowledge to create an initiative that would help address climate issues of climate change. I hope that's clear. If I've mentioned another point in that in the voice notes, it's also valid. So I'm just using another context, another idea. So with that, I am looking forward to um, creating, after learning my masters in food security. I'm looking forward to coming back to my local community and building up and building this initiative that would reach out to XYZ number of young farmers in my local community, teaching them how to grow sustainably or how to utilize XYZ tool. Maybe you're not focused on food security. Maybe you're in sustainable energy or data analytics. How to use XYZ tool to build a sustainable system, or to grow the agro business, or just, what I'm saying now. So just make it detailed. You can say, in the first year I'm looking at doing XYZ. Or if you have an initiative already, then you can mention that you're going to focus back on your initiative which you've already started, to make sure that young leaders get involved, and then you utilize the knowledge that you're going to get to solve. You should mention clearly the challenge, and then tell them the solution that you're trying to create. So, but it's important you realize that detailed and well constructed is very important. First thing, I introduced myself. Second thing, I mentioned the course I'm studying, and I mentioned and what the course would help me learn to, or the initiative it's going to help me build, and the challenge. So after mentioning that, so learning this course of let me just reconstruct mentioning the challenge, and then the initiative I want to create and the solution on how to create a community of young leaders. So, studying masters in food security will help me learn how to utilize orphan crops, how to grow for sustainable, how to ensure sustainable food system as it is taught in sustainable food system course. You see, I'm mentioning the course now, as it is taught in sustainable food system course, and you can mention another course as well. So this would help me learn effective knowledge or adequate knowledge on sustainable growth or effective use of orphan crops. By the way, orphan crops are crops that are climate resilient and are well grown and have been well grown in sub-Saharan Africa within the ages within the 19th. However, these crops has been neglected, which is causing climate impact, which is causing climate detriment to local farmers who do not understand which crop to grow or how resilient this crop can be. And the causes of this has been focused on our staple food, which are majorly rice and majorly rice, maize. Let's just say rice and maize. So by learning the ability to um, by learning courses on food security and leadership learning under Mastercard Foundation, I look forward to, then you mentioned the initiative, I look forward to creating the Saver initiative, which teaches um, young farmers how to grow sustainably in their local community. Or if you have another initiative that you already established, I look forward to establishing. Can this mute? Okay, I just done that. All right. So I'm looking forward to improving or making a ripple effect in my organization. You mentioned the organization, which focuses on improving. Just mention states in just one sentence. What does your organization do? You get, so that I believe that answers the question. Now let me you look at other rubric. Now share idea around community building within climate change and sustainability. Recall, I have shared idea by saying first of all I've shared idea on orphan crops, which is a climate resilient crop that I want to build an initiative around. I've demonstrated understanding around Mastercard Foundation program by mentioning that the leadership program that I would be learning would help me build the community, because Mastercard Foundation has a climate leadership program. So you can mention that. So also, they are choosing degree. And remember, I also mentioned that I'll be studying XYZ, and this will help me learn, you know, I mentioned the course that would help me learn a particular stuff. So that means you understand what you're going to learn. So elaborate on practical solutions. I've mentioned that as well. So demonstrate how they will contribute in this community as well. Working to building, working with building others. So we would still talk more on that because you can use all of this rubric in just one question. So note when you're writing your responses, but ensure that every responses touch at least 70% of this rubric in just one question. At least 70% in just one question. So engaging creative verbal delivery that entirely holds audience. So for example, this one is, for me, I didn't prepare for this. Let me just tell you the fact. I didn't prepare for this, but I understand what they need and all of those. So what I just want you to do in engaging that in that line is mentioning, first of all, you can just put them in a scenario. Put them in a scenario. Can you imagine a community where, let's say you're doing sustainable energy now? Can you imagine a community where we have oil? I'm talking about Nigeria. I'm using Nigeria as a case study, and like Niger Delta that produces oil but still do not have power supply. Can you imagine you being in a community where you have all the resources, but you do not have the adequate knowledge on transforming these resources in an adequate manner to ensure that you get the right capacity or the right result? For example, in Nigeria, southeast where I stay, we have Nigeria specifically, according to XYZ researcher, stated Nigeria being the highest producer of oil. This is all example, highest producer of oil in Niger Delta. Yet we face effect destruction on, and we face, um, exuding exuding rates in carbon monoxide when people actually tap into this oil legally. Yet we are still we still lack ability, or we still lack access to quality electricity, um fossil fuel, whatever. You just state very clearly. So so you just bring them into the context that they have enough resources, yet they still lack the utilization or the resource that they should be getting from these natural resources. And then you mention the context. I would even advise you mention the context directly. But if there's a way, if you when you're writing, if you think your time gets it, that's fine. So I'm giving you options. So, like I said, the content is clear and logical. Right. Yep. So that's how I'm going to answer question one if I'm being asked. So question two: how would you contribute to this community within the scholars program at the University of Edinburgh? Like I mentioned, I'm studying food security. Mm, I want us to focus on that. I'm studying food security, or I want to study food security. Yeah, I want to study food security. Now, I would be answering this by saying I will contribute to the community. You can start at with the first. You can even start with in another way. Like for example, asking them exactly what is a community. One thing I want you to know. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate them for the question as well. Ask. Thank you so much for this brilliant question. I'm someone who is very very big on community. You know, with the way I even introduce that, they will be like, oh, okay, this guy is emphasizing that, because community and climate change, anything you want to be emphasizing very much on, or you want to sweet mouth on, should be on community, climate change, and interpersonal skill as well. So those are like the side things that you want to be focusing on. And being a leader, yes, leadership, climate change, sustainability, and community. So with that, anything that you can coin to make sure that they hear it and they be like, oh wow, this demonstrates you as someone who is experienced or so interested in that area, is something that you want to take note of in your essays, in your responses. So how would you contribute to this community within the scholars program the at the University of Edinburgh? So I recall one person who I reviewed essay last gisted me about this, and then because she has an organization, and let me just use my own organization, which is Silver. So we just say I would contribute. Oh, first of all, what is community? I can enter like, in fact, I would feel to enter like that, but I don't want you all to enter like asking what is a community. But if you want to, well, that's fine. But you can think about something else, like you can say, according to, yeah, you can say, according to XYZ, community means XYZ. So that means you're knowledgeable about this. And I've actually showed, and then you can move on to say, I've showed a brilliant capacity in building a community at XYZ organization, where I led XYZ projects. So contributing to the community in the University of Edinburgh, I look forward to bringing those expertise. But I want you to be explicit. Oh, let me just use an example. First of all, what is a community? A community is okay. Let me be specific. Okay. So that I make use of all the points in having a community. Yeah. So a community, you might not want to mention it the way Google has mentioned it. You reiterate it within the context of your own knowledge, or or you can even do it like that as well. No one cares. So what's a community? A community is a group of people who share common interests, character, or experiences, and often interact with each other. Now, in my uh, oh, yeah, so around trying to build a community has been something that I've been interested in the past 6 years, and I've showcased this in organizations that I've worked with, including Aspire Institute, Leap Africa, Millennium Campus Network, where I contributed or where I championed initiative that solves the sustainability development goal 2, zero hunger, with a project titled um, Eradicate Poverty Eradicate Poverty Initiative (EPI). You can say yeah, you can just give it a name, EPI. During this project, I led a group of 10 other colleagues in my university, where we tutored farmers, or we went for local outreaches to local farmers in rural community, teaching them how to plant their crop and teaching them other agro businesses, for example, maize, snail farming, and how to use the manure of their farm to improve their crop rather than focusing in on fertilizers, which is detrimental to the soil by contributing nitrogen oxide, which then flows into the water, contributing to killing killing life organisms in the water, for example, fishes and all, which is against sustainability, which is against the climate action that we want. So I look forward to championing this knowledge, championing a new initiative, or also among scholars, for example, understanding that we come from diverse communities and lack of knowledge of, maybe agricultural, agriculture or relatable, what can I say in that case? Lack of knowledge in regards to climate sustainability or agro climate sustainability. I look forward to championing a podcast, or I look forward to, creating an initiative within my own cohort or within the Mastercard Foundation, or it could be maybe championing an African maybe social community where we all share our expertise, because it's not just only about what I study, but also what other people study as well, because I want to learn about how other leaders in my community are actually solving this issue in their respective field. So this will help us to, one, share strong bond, which is what communities are about, tackling climate change in Africa. Or this will also help me learn other interpersonal or interdisciplinary skills that could be utilized in solving issues in food security. For example, learning from someone under sustainable energy on how she's using maybe solar power to panel their house could be effective in um, solving irrigation challenge in under food security, in climate resilience, in desert areas across Nigeria. So which would help solve climate issue as well. So building on community. So to build this community, I look forward to championing. I would even advise you that you create one initiative. Think about it now. Create one initiative after listening to this, and then use that to say what you want to say. So don't say I might. Don't say that. Say you will create that and that. And don't be shy, or don't think that it might not be possible. Everything at this stage, everything is possible. Have the leadership mindset. So lastly, I okay, and how would you seek to build community in your degree program? So I feel like this is easy. Um, Learning XYZ, you just focus on the course that you'll be learning, and having talk about your experience as well, the experience you've had in previous projects. You can say, for example, from my 6 years experience in, or 2 years experience, or maybe my research experience in XYZ, I understand that I have great strengths in writing and communication. well, you might not want to talk about communication because everyone might think everyone is good in communication. So, but either ways, just choose an interpersonal skills that you're good at. Let's say project management or communication or um, let's say yeah, event coordination XYZ in Aspire Institute, where I created 10 projects in just 1 year, reaching 15,000% in 15,000 youths. Please always include youth and women anywhere you can, include youth, young women, and people with disability, just people underrepresented group, right? So where I organized a program, a cultural program for young people in my community within the age of 13 and 35, including women, people with disability, and girls as well, telling them about, teaching them about personal development and also intercultural behavior. Yeah. So I look forward to championing such events in the University of Edinburgh amidst my cohort. I look forward to, um, and you can also check your WhatsApp, your maybe your group, maybe if your school has, yeah, of course, I believe every school has a link Instagram page. Check their Instagram page. For me, I was the student representative of my school, so I was able to leverage on that skill to to organize a project like potluck, to co-organize a project. I wasn't the one who fully organized the potluck. I working with this course representative. I was the school representative, so you can say you looking forward to being the school representative or the course representative, where you have ability to leverage that to um, be organized an intercultural initiative, and or maybe some game show, or maybe from experience, maybe you're even working and you have experience of what you've been doing in previous time, then you can talk about that first. You can talk about that first, like after mentioning that from your experience working in a community where you organize initiative xyz, you did this, eh, and then which resulted to everyone knowing maybe the name of their countries off head, or maybe knowing a color of something something, just talk about that. And then you talk about the results that how you're going to bring that into your community, and how is that going to help to build a community. So I believe that potluck would help, like, make everyone experience a meal from their own local community, from different kind of country. I believe that would be very intriguing, because I can't imagine. And you can also, like, don't say it like you're just don't say it like it's something that you're recording, like, hey, hi. You just put some expression into it as well, because I can't imagine tasting the Scottish food or tasting food from Ghana. Most importantly, when they say Ghana jollof is more sweet than Nigeria jollof, so something that could be so interesting. So just chip that in most of the time. So, but don't do that too much. Don't delve on that, But at a point in time, just chip that in. But knowing your piece, writing it down is very, very important. So when you've written all of these questions down, I've recorded this session. I'm going to send it to you all. Would that be possible now? I will see if I can share it as soon as possible to you all, because I have a couple of meetings after now. In 20 minutes, I believe. So you'll be able to compare your responses with the with the rubric, with the outstanding, which is number 4, the number 4 rubric, right? And practice. I remember someone doing a mock for me before my day, and it's not that I don't know what I want to say, but I was still blabbing. You don't want to be blabbing. You do not want to be blabbing, and you have just 4 minutes. So you have to be very eloquent. I know some people are very gentle. It's very good to be gentle, but please be outspoken. This is the time. And it's until you know what you want to say, that's when you can you can chip in some humor here and there. So learn what you've written. In fact, it was 3 days before my interview that I had to write it down. I gave it to my friend to ask me those questions, and then I started repeating it after him. So, and that was why I killed the interview, So those are the things that you want to do. Please practice, practice, practice. Write it down. I would advise you write this thing down. Since you've learned it now, you have the first voice notes. If Even if I'm not sharing this second voice note, I believe you've gotten something valuable from this meeting. You write it down, you know, just make sure that you focus on being a leader in your response, being a leader, focusing on sustainability or slash and climate, depends on what you're working on, uh, community as well. So those three things: community, leadership, being a leader, someone is focused on climate change slash or sustainability. So who is so passionate? Let me use that word. Who is so passionate? So once you're talking, when you're mentioning that, and that you can say, when you're talking about challenges, okay, and that is really, really affecting us in Nigeria. So you talk about it like you're so passionate about it. So, but don't say it as if you're aggressive as well. So you know the balance. All right. What else can I say? How you dress formal. For me, I think during my time, I just wore a shirt, no suits, nothing. I just wore a shirt, and yeah, I just wore a shirt. That was it. So you might want to wear a suit if it's comfortable, but dress comfortably. Don't wear suits that you will start being, that start affecting your posture or your communication. If you want to dress like that, make sure you dress earlier or depending on how it's comfortable for you. So, but just dress officially. Besides, it's just your shirt that is just your like a photo shoot kind of screen that you want to use. And make sure in a very good environment, quiet environment. Test where you want to use prior hand. Text text where you want to use prior the time of your interview. Use the maximum. Check. I know our communities lack bandwidth, like higher bandwidth. Please check those communities. Yeah, check your network connection in wherever you want to, in wherever you want to take the interview, you want to use as interview, and let your face show, let your face shine. Let your face show. Let your where your shoe is not here in this case. So, but please let your face show very well, and also always take notes. Let me just add something to the aspect of leadership. The leadership requires bringing people together. It's also a part of community, and also try a way to chip in, help your how you're helping the underdeserved community, even though the people you're maybe solving problem for is not directly or um, youth or young women, people with disability. Try a way to fixing. You can just say which would help, young people coming up, especially people from undeserved communities, like young men, people with disability, young women, sorry, people with disability, and others. So just find a way to put that in place as well. All right, so there's some follow-up questions that I'm seeing here. Why do you select the University of Edinburgh at Mastercard Foundation Scholarship? Go and search. The University of Edinburgh is top 20 something university, top world university in the world. And this is your course. You can search the ranking of your course as well and tell them the ranking of your course is so superb and all of those. You can talk about uh, any scholar that you've seen the great work that they are doing and what they shared that they've learned. So, like, you're really, really so interested, and you've also checked other universities, but other universities are not focused on XYZ. And in this case as well, yeah, you can just talk about the university ranking, the beauty of Scotland. Yeah, Scotland is very beautiful, really, except the cold. So you talk about the beauty of Scotland, whatever, whatever, whatever. And your leadership attributes. What's your leadership attributes? That's where you should focus on one of an interpersonal skill. Like always use the star approach as well. Yeah, when they're asking you something like this. So, what's your leadership attributes? So, for example, you could say, from my projects, from creating maybe 5 projects in 10 organizations, or 10 projects amidst 5 organizations, including XYZ, XYZ. I've come to realize that I'm very good at communication, or I'm very good at interpersonal skills. And this has been demonstrated in one of these projects where I did this and that. And during this session, I got a feedback. I'm sorry, I was tasked to, you talk about the task. Maybe there's a situation was to carry out a project on, maybe you mentioned a particular project, and my task was to organize XYZ, XYZ, but um I needed to communicate with stakeholders in this organization. So I communicated with them via scheduling a call on Zoom and also via email. I followed them up. I did this, and their feedback was very great. They reported to my manager that my exceptional skills, my communication skills was very great, or my interpersonal skills was very great. Or maybe you got an award in your university. Yeah, just to mention something. So, uh, yeah, I believe that I have very great strengths in that aspect as well. Yeah, so you just wrap it up like that. So your experience promoting social inclusion, like I said, anywhere you're going to be chipping in those kind of words like young people, women, and um, you should try and chip that in the first questions. But yeah, in this case, you can just talk about any other. You can just think about any other response, like your experience promoting social inclusion. I'm thinking of what I can say now is, yeah, maybe even in organizing an event, you can say you prioritize focus, because young people with disability and young people have always been, or women and people with disability have always been neglected in this case. So I focused on maybe campaigning or going to orphanages or places where you can find, it might be social promotion where you can find people with disability, or maybe you even created a project that is focused on social inclusion. You mentioned that, and then you said, and that actually improved the number of attendees of people who are disabled, or people who are, or young women, from 5 to maybe 20%. And in subsequent year, it actually increased to 40% or 60%. You know, so I believe if we can actually promote, you can say it as a story, like, if you can actually keep promoting inclusion, social inclusion, I believe that um, there's going to be equality in our community, and also this will help, maybe spike more ideas or solve more challenges that we are facing, because XYZ, XYZ, anything that you want to buttress. So I believe that's helpful to build on. So your interest in your choosing course. In this case, go to your course and mention. Yes, of course. Oh wait, let me we'll answer that your question later, Yusuf. Yeah, so your interest in your choosing course. Tell them this is where you mention specifically that you hope to learn. You've checked the course, and then some research. If you've used an instance whereby your course would help you solve a challenge, or yeah, in our first question, I mentioned that what what do you think would help you build effective community? I mentioned that I would say, I look forward to learning some courses, in some courses. If you didn't mention that in that case, then you can mention it here. That um, sustainable food security, sustainable food system, or interrelations to food system, or um, elected courses like participation in policy and planning would help me learn more on planning and all and all and all as well, which would also contribute to what you've mentioned earlier. That's when you can mention that. But I see no reason why you should even delve on, you should major on the course while answering that first question. You shouldn't major, like, don't start talking about how the course, it's only what you want to be stating there is how the course will help the initiative you want to create to build the community in that first instance. So, but in this instance, you talk about how it's going to help your professional career. Maybe you want to become someone, how it's going to help you to become that, that and that and that. So that's what you're going to mention here. They won't, okay, we'll get to that. They won't ask you all those follow-up questions. So they won't ask you everything. They won't ask you everything. The major thing that they would ask is those three questions. So, and after you, and that those three questions is what you want to focus on within 3 minutes. Now, sometimes you might just use within 4 minutes rather. So you might just use maybe 3 minutes in some questions, or 3 minutes and a half. So you're still going to be left with, let's say, 1 minute or 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So that's what they're going to use to ask follow-up questions. So it's just good to prepare for these follow-up questions. These are the questions that they would ask you directly. Oh, we have 8 minutes left. Your approach. Yeah. So another thing you can mention in this call, in this, your interest in your chosen degree is the lecturers. Some lecturers that are teaching that course. I don't know if you guys know how to check the course, but please check the course, type the course and University of Edinburgh, your particular course, University of Edinburgh on Google. You will see the course and the course module. So from the course module, you can see lecturers that are taking individual course. For me, I would advise you focus on the major course because electives can be competitive. So you don't want to shoot yourself in the leg. But if electives are what is more connected to your this thing, try and find one elective, one major course to talk about, and like a lecturer that their research is very coincides with yours. Maybe they are working on something in Africa. Please don't digress. Also focus on Africa and your home community. Yeah, so that you're looking at helping. So always look at that. So your approach to bringing a positive change. Your approach to bringing a positive change. What can I say here? Bringing a positive change. You can just cite bringing a positive change in my community. Being a leader. That's just what I say. Being a transformative leader. Yes. So anything that you're looking forward to building that is in your essay. I think there's a question like that as well. Yep. Yeah, leadership and service. Yeah, leadership and service. Your track record. So under that, I believe everyone mentioned something about their leadership. So making a positive change is what I've demonstrated in my experience in maybe since 5 years, or since I was a kid, or whatever, where I started taking up leadership role. And you can talk about your leadership role here, like focusing on, I took up leadership role, and yet I excel with a distinction, or with a blah 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 blah. Or you mentioned the challenge you had, yeah, and yeah, talk about it. So if anyone is, maybe you are, just talk about your story. All right, everything I'm saying is part of my story. You get, so you talk about your story and how you're even distinct as a person. So sometimes you can just chip in some things, like even despite being someone who is disabled, maybe you how do you say it? uh Maybe you stammer. Yeah, maybe you stammer. Despite being someone who stammers, I still get high commendation about for my communication skills or my interpersonal skills. So just talk about, in any way, in any of these questions, talk about your story and how you've been distant. You get. So that's that about that. And I'm going to be answering questions that I'm seeing in the chat right now. And I'm going to give us 5 minutes to quickly ask me questions, please. I have a, yeah, you can use that, man. I mean, you're just gonna nail them. Like, if I'm the one using that, I'll just say I've been following Mastercard Foundation since my students. Whatever you've known Mastercard Foundation, maybe um during your maybe undergrads. So you can just say, and you can even say, I have a crested vest of maybe a program that you attended and which inspired you to want to be part of a program that would build leaders, that will focus on you, talk with passion. Yeah, so please, the question four, please, for the questions, is it 4 minutes for questions or 4 minutes per question? It's 4 minutes per question. Come on. It's 4 minutes per question. Oh, 4 minutes for. Yeah, it's 4 minutes per question. So you have, everyone in your team will be talking. So they would ask you individually that question, and then they might throw it up to the team. Like, you should pass comments on those questions. So in this case as well, please pass good comments on other people, and don't just pass comments alone. You don't just say, that's very, very brilliant. Most importantly, when they are asking how you want to build community, talk like you want to partner with that person, on whatever they are discussing. Like, oh really, wow, that's really great. I also like look forward to organizing something similar, but this is my own idea. I do you get You can just quickly talk about, or something you think you can add, and then, maybe when we get to Edinburgh, we can actually champion that would be really great, because it will help. Then you mention how it will improve that program. So I can say that, wow, that's a very brilliant idea. I also like want to organize a social event, and we can even match this, because my initiative also includes maybe playing some climate scorecard games, which I believe can help people always learn. Because once you're playing card games, that was what actually made me to learn what art is, what shape um say art, spade. I'm talking about these card games, so we can play those card games and also incorporate some other initiative, like from my idea, and we can make it unique. That's how we build community, right? So you can push it, like, you also like say it as if you're getting comments or confirmation from them. And once you're doing that, you're keen into being a community oriented leader. So, yep, I feel like that's it. All right. So it's 4 minutes for each question. 4 minutes for each question. And then everyone gets to ask. So that's why it's like an hour kind of meeting. So like you just have like 20 minutes in total. All right. So anyone wants to ask me any question? Well, I hope you guys enjoyed my talk. I knew I'd talked for about an hour, but I believe you guys heard me clearly. I hope I'm recording as well so that I can share later on. So if you have any questions, any query, please ask. And if it's a personal question, please just use me a voice note, text me a voice note on WhatsApp. Any questions? No further questions.
Hello, good evening.
Yes.
Allow me ask a question.
Yeah, please go on.
Yes, when it is my turn, do they ask questions in turn? For example, question one, then all the in all the students respond to the question, or if it is my time, they complete it, then they move to the next.
Yes, that's how they will do. Each questions for each person. All of you are going to answer these specific questions, and they would ask you one after the other. Or well, maybe I believe they would ask you one after the other, but they might change it. But since you know the responses, so to all of these questions, but the questions that they're going to first of all ask you are these questions on page 4 specifically. So others will be if you have more time. So, sorry.
Thank you. I got you right.
Yep, good. All right. Any other person? Okay. Everyone is quiet. I've talked too much.
I think probably when we get the recorded version, sorry, because for me, at some point, I wasn't really catching up properly. some of the things you were saying.
Okay. Yeah, I knew like I was just like talking about it interwovenly. So, but yeah, I'm going to do that, share it with you guys, and I hope it's going to be useful. I wish you guys best of luck. I will share the recorded session. I hope you listen to it over and over again. It's about 1 hour, which I didn't even expect, but I hope you find it useful. Yes, Michael, go on.
All right. So I wanted to find out, for instance, maybe during your presentation,
Mm-hmm.
are you permitted to a kind of because that particular first question on or the first set of questions on page 4 now.
Yes, yes, yes.
The way you were trying to cite the examples
Mm-hmm.
is as though each of those questions we use star approach
Yes,
on each of them.
yes.
If we are going to do that, the time is very short.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking the way someone can just use one story to catch all the 3 or 4 questions we have.
Okay, that's a very good
That's
question.
possible.
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's possible, but you should be focusing on what they are asking, even though you're using the same story. You should be focusing on the response specifically, even if you want to use the same story. So, like, what do you think would help you create effective community? Well, for me, I don't see if a story would fit in all of those. For example, I wouldn't want to use the same story on how I will build a community for the scholars program to build the same community in my degree program. So it's just this is just 3 questions. So just think outside the box. Okay, another story. Don't long your story. Like don't it's not yeah. Even though you're having you're answering like you're using star approach. For example, now let me say, how would you seek to build a community in your degree program? Like I mentioned earlier, community is about bringing people together, people like-minded or who are of the same character, of same set goals. So I understand that I'm studying food security and I'm looking forward to organizing. This one's yeah. Sorry, let me just finish that. I'm organizing potluck, and which will help the understanding of other people in my cohorts or in my program on how food are being prepared or what food are being eaten in our culture. I've done something similar in XYZ organization where I was the maybe community manager or the team lead. So in this organization, I I personally had a situation of people not coming together to people not coming together as a community in their own cause. So I realized it as an action to take. I realized it as a task to build this community or to strengthen the bond of this community. And to do this, I organized a 5-day event where everyone speaks a greeting, or when everyone comes to the office, they greet themselves in their own local dialect rather than the English language that we are having that we use in our professional setting. And over the years, once everyone started speaking everyone's language, it was very fun and everyone started being or coming together. Just think about something that could. So within this, I've answered the question within just 2 minutes. So that's how I hope that was helpful, Michael.
Yes, sir. So lastly, sir,
Okay.
this one is just like, okay, is it advisable and is it allowed? For instance, if you have practical proofs of
To
some of
share
the
your
things
slide,
that
right?
no, not like sharing slides, because in that the document they shared with us, they
Mhm.
said slides are not permitted.
Yes.
And for
So what?
instance, maybe
Mhm.
you are into the agro space, and then there are a few things you are doing
Yeah.
that are within your environment. Is it
Yes.
advisable to just quickly show
Yes.
them as okay, for
Yes.
instance?
Yes. That's very, very, yeah. I mean, you can say you've created a product and this is it. You can just show them from the camera. Yeah. Or you have an award that you can just show to the camera really quick and then put it down and then continue your conversation. Yes. That's very,
Oh, all
yes.
right.
So master your piece again, please. Write it down, master your piece, and I wish you all best of luck. Does anyone have any